Hello guys, it is first thing in the morning and we got a little bit of a problem on our hands that I want to share with you. I went down to the basement to get meat from the freezer we have down there, and a couple days ago we had a storm that flooded the basement. And at the time dealing with that, we thought we dealt with everything, all the problems that arose from that. But what we did not notice is that at some point in that storm, it flipped the breaker so that the freezer stopped working. And so I went down today and all of the meat was thawed out. That is like one of the worst things that can happen, is your freezer not working, because that is so much money and effort that could go to waste. But luckily the meat was all still good, just thawed out. And so what I now have to do, all the rest of my plans for the day are not gonna happen. What I have to do today is cook all that meat, because you can refreeze meat that has been cooked. So we got roasts, we got steak, we got chicken. Today it is all gonna get cooked and then it can be refroze. I might can up some of the chicken as well, we will have to see. But that is what is in store for us today. So let's get going with that. So this is our starting point. Here are some of the roasts that I had in the freezer, tons of chicken, and just a big mess. I'm going to start off by putting the roasts just in the oven to have them bake all day, and I am going to cook up all the steaks. I am going to boil the chicken, so I got a big pot here and I'm just going to load it up with all the chicken that I have. I have decided at this point that I am going to hot pack can the chicken. So first I'm just going to get that starting to boil on the stovetop. I'm going to prepare my canner by putting some water in it and getting my jars in there. So every batch of steak that I did, I just cooked it up and then took it off and threw another 4 things of steak right back on and just kept going with that until they were all cooked. Now it's time to prepare the jars for the chicken. I am just going to tear it up a little bit, not completely shred. So you're going to put your chicken, a half teaspoon for pints, a whole teaspoon for quarts, and some hot boiling water. You want to leave an inch and a fourth of head space, and then I'm just using the fork to get out any air bubbles and of course wiping down my rims. You want to pressure can your pints of chicken for 75 minutes. And this is all the steak cooked up, and I diced it up and put it in the freezer. And the roasts I just had for dinner that night. The meat did not take as long as I thought it would, so I actually had time to do something that I had planned to do, and that is make cinnamon rolls. If you're curious of the recipe, it is 4 cups of flour, a 1/3 cup of sugar, about 4 teaspoons of yeast, a teaspoon salt, a 1.5 cups of warm water, 6 tablespoons unsalted butter, and a large egg. Then for the filling, you're going to want to use some butter and some brown sugar and some cinnamon. Just play with that to get how much you would like. And then I topped it with a cream cheese icing, which is just cream cheese mixed with powdered sugar and some butter, as well as a little bit of vanilla extract. Once you roll them up all nice and cut them into that cinnamon roll shape, you're going to want to put them in a buttered pan and bake at 350 for 25 to 30 minutes. They turned out so good, and I'm so glad I got to make them. So by the end of it, we canned up quite a few things of chicken, which I've already used some, and it's working great. It tastes great, so I'm very happy with that. I bagged up 3 large bags of steak, and I've already used that too. It makes it so easy to pull out for something like a beef ramen or anything like that. And the 2 roasts I actually had for dinner that night, and there was a ham that I don't know if you saw or not that got cooked the night after that. So all of our meat got saved, didn't have to throw anything away. Thank goodness we were like right at the end of our big box of moose burger that we had. There was like 1 package left. I can't even imagine if I had to cook up like 20 packets of hamburger or even more, because there was tons in there at one point, like 100 packets. So thank goodness it was not that bad of a situation. We were on the lower end of our meat stockpile. But that just goes to show that the more things you take in your own hands, like your food supply, that means there will be more work for you. I think working hard is a really good thing. I think we should all work hard towards things we find important, but it's also important to know exactly kind of what you're getting into. It was actually Christmas Eve when I made that discovery. It's a few days later now, but even though it was Christmas Eve and I may have wanted to do some other things, I knew what I had to do in order to not have all this food go to waste. All that food and all that money and all the effort that not only the farmers who raised the animal had, but the sacrifice the animal had to make. Of course, things happen that we can't control. Bad things happen that we can't change, but the more we put on ourselves, the more we need to know that unexpected things can happen and we have to be ready to do what we can do. So hopefully this could have been inspiring for you in some way. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing so that you can join our community of like-minded folk, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!